record, and we kind of just go right into the flow. Hopefully, it's not recording. I believe so. Yes. So again, for those of you that are just joining, thank you so much. Welcome to the July Hangout. And for folks that do not know about the Hangout, um, what we do is every last Saturday of the month, we bring all FostrMates and friends. Initially, this was just us in-house, but we've since opened it up to potential FostrMates and friends. So if you're not a member yet, I'm sure Sandra would drop the link to how you can join us and just be part of what we're building here. And every month we pick a theme and we just go deep dive. This month we decided to choose the theme built by FostrMates because we know that you know all of us, I believe, have something in us that wants to build. Yes, a bunch of us do work in 9 to 5. It pays the bill, but we're always yawning for more. And in talking to the four featured FostrMates on this call today, right? We decided, you know what, we're just going to shift away from regular programming. Yes, we're still going to have the breakout session towards the end. Yes, we're still going to have, community updates and the Foster Bridge and all the typical things we do as part of this hangout. But we want to hear from, the builders, right? So we've put together an amazing, what's it called, group of Foster mates that are builders from somebody, who has come to be a good friend of mine over the months, building things around, Hyre Grid and Dakar Network Angels and ISE-Da and I believe LAVAR. So you hear a whole lot from them today. So I'll do less of the talking today, which honestly I'm so happy that I get to just sit back and just just suck it all in. Typically, our session is always for an hour, 30 minutes. And trust me, it goes by really, really fast. Right. So we try to leave exactly at 3:30. So it's an hour, 30 minutes. We're already 12 minutes in. The way we're going to do today is we're going to go 10 minutes for each of our builders to kind of just tell us exactly what you're working on. Um, this is meant to be a teaser because I think ultimately each of this individual deserve like a full hangout session with us to really, really go deep, right? So just consider this like a teaser because again, I know 10 minutes is very, very little. You all would have a bunch of questions for them. So the way we're going to do it is they're going to go, talk about their product for 5 minutes and then a quick Q&A for 5 minutes. So 10 minutes each per individual. So you're going to hear from Fanta-Marie who's been working on Hyre Grid. You're going to hear from Marième Diop, who got me to settle the debate between who had the best jollof rice. Either it was Senegal or Nigerian jollof rice, and I quickly realized that she on the call. Yeah, but I still prefer Nigerian jollof rice. Sorry, Marième.
Oh gosh, you didn't say that.
I couldn't say that while I was back in Dakar, but now I'm back home, so I can say that. But I had an amazing time, just amazing company, country, amazing people. To Fola, who I've just recently got to know, working on ISE-Da, beautiful concept, and to my buddy for life now. We're pretty much almost everywhere. Tomi will talk to us about LAVAR. So without further ado, I'll pass it on to Fanta to lead us. And you would see that things is broken down into we have product, two products, and then we have two kind of services. So that way, you all can get a feel for those that are building product and those that have more of a service-based idea. So, Fanta Marie, I'll let you kick us off. 10 minutes to talk about what you build with our higher grade. The floor is all yours.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. Apologies, I'm fighting a cold, so my voice sounds a little weird. But just a little bit about me. I live in Atlanta. I was a previous system admin turned cybersecurity consultant in the DoD space. So I'm currently running my own firm. But more importantly, one of my biggest passions is educating people into breaking into tech and the cybersecurity space in general. So throughout that, I've built a pretty large following online. And with that comes students that I coach, whether it's interviews or finding a proper pathway into cyber, whatever it is that they want. So providing them as much resources as possible. With that, I've found that I keep running into the same issues, right? Students are like, can you look at my resume? Can you give me feedback? Can you do this? Can you do that? And 9 times out of 10, when I'm looking at resumes, they look horrible. They look like my students use Microsoft Paint half the time to build it. Like it's really sad, but I'm being so serious. I've yet to come across a really good resume. So when I hear, someone's paying for my time and they're like, I've been applying, I've been trying to land jobs, and I look at that resume, I'm instantly turned off. Um, and so throughout explaining that process, there's different types of resumes, right? You have a comprehensive resume that lists all of your um, accolades, your schooling history, your projects, your leadership experience, any paid employment. And then you can also have a student resume. And then more importantly, you can also have a federal resume. Those templates all look different. So I've yet to find a resource that isn't hidden behind a paywall. That includes ATS scanning as well as job application tracking all in one. And a lot of the times my students do pay for me to help them find jobs as well. So I have a team that handles that. So I just created Hyre Grid as a platform where I don't have to be the middleman anymore. I don't have to manually look at resumes. I can give you a template, and you can connect directly with my team. But larger picture here is that you can also, larger picture goal for me is to be able to white label this to other, recruiters or companies that are looking for a centralized platform. So I can get started with a demo here of the website. So I'm going to share my screen. And this is a soft launch, so let's hope this works when I show this. But this is my landing page. So if we go to www.hyregrid.com, this is what you see here.
And I think it's up now. Okay, because it was coming up. So we see it now.
Okay, good. So this is my landing page. It might be a little slow, but we'll see. So um, once I have it launched, it will have a tracker, like a browser extension in which you can like manually apply and track to. So biggest thing here is that job application tracking is completely free. Tailoring your resume is completely free with limits. And ATS scanning is also free within limits as well. So you can try this out. Anybody that has feedback for my site, definitely let me know. Trying to get through as many tests and iterations as possible before I start marketing this really hard. But um, these are packages that I offer some of my students to apply for jobs. Um, these are all done by hand. We use AI to help out, but AI is not perfect. So you still need an individual to oversee things and make things still sound natural. So that is pretty much what Hyre Grid does. So we're gonna start with an account from scratch. So just gonna use like a dummy email I have. Get my email. Sign in. We collect pretty much what everyone else collects. We don't sell data at all. That's at least personally identifiable. Just enter in phone number here. We're in Atlanta. Just a random birthday. So this is what you see when you sign in. Just a quick demo tutorial about the services here. So Resume Radar is where you can upload a resume, pick different templates. Messages will be unlocked if you have a recruiter assigned to you. And then you can select between different membership options. But of course, everyone starts off by being free as default. So starting here, we have our resumes. This is where you can import an existing run. If you like what you have, great. We love that. If not, you can always build. Mhm. So we import these, and then you can also auto-generate cover letters if you're being asked to. So I'm gonna go ahead and upload a resume here. Let's just see.
That's lots of data for sure. So, Fanta, while you look for a resume to upload, is the idea that, if I'm looking for my next opportunity, all I need to do is, come to Hyre Grid, put in my resume, put in my target job description, and then based on the plan that I'm entitled to, they then help me custom submit my resume. Is that?
Yes, they can. If you choose to have staff help you out with applying, because the thing is with every job application that you submit, you need to tailor your resume. So your blanket resume, for example, I just uploaded my GRC one because I'm a cybersecurity consultant. My skills are really supporting customers in the defense industrial base. So I have certifications geared towards that. I've done assessments. I've done tons of advisory. So if anyone's looking to start a government contracting business, I can help you on the IT and cybersecurity side. Um, so I'm highly qualified in that. I've done tons of assessments. I have several clients on my own. And so on paper, I am highly qualified to do this, but my resume will paint a different story. So you need to make sure that it matches what these requisitions or the job description is looking for. So this is my resume here. This is the one that is, for recruiters, like, can I see your accolades? This is what I send to them. This is the build a resume. This is just what we're going to launch just to start. So you have a comprehensive format that's going to list everything. It's already formatted for you. You just have to enter in the information. Then we have a student one that's geared slightly differently, work experience, but emphasis on project and leadership as well, and other skills that are relevant. And then we have a federal template. So if you do not list your salary, how many hours you worked, and contact to your previous supervisor, that is not a proper federal resume. So if you've ever applied on USC jobs.gov, this is what you need to use. A lot of people don't know that. So next thing would be using the ATS, and this is what I mean by really proving that you are the right candidate. So we start by selecting a resume that's already been uploaded here. Minimize this. And we want to find a job description here. So once more, I'm a cybersecurity consultant in the DoD or DoW space. These titles are not congruent across the industry, unfortunately. So what I really focus on is CMMC. So at the top here, you see already apply or search for CMMC jobs. And then I've gone to LinkedIn. I'm trying to move this tab up here. So I found this cybersecurity auditor position. I don't have auditing on my resume whatsoever, but we'll see what we can get. So we'll click on apply company site. I really don't want to do that.
And while you pick up that link, if you do have questions for Fanta, please drop it in the chat. I also know that Tosi also reached out, dropped a note for you, Fanta, so you can see that. And hopefully, as we continue to look through other demos, Fanta can actually help address any questions you may have. So please continue to drop those questions, comments, or feedback for her. And Fanter, I know we have just maybe 2 more minutes left here. As you continue to look at this, any specific ask from this community? If so, you can definitely drop that to or speak to that. But I'll let you kind of wrap it up so we can see if we can take one or two questions live.
I'm not able to, I'm not going to sign into that, but I have other links that I was trying out this morning. So we'll try this one to see if it worked. It's a link from LinkedIn. As you can see, it's an active job position with Smithers. So it parses the information here, and this is what it's looking for. So I'm going to click on Analyze, and it's going to do a comparison between my existing resume with what they're looking for, the right skills. And ideally, we want to aim for an 80 to 100% match. If we are not that, the likelihood of getting a call back is going to be very slim. So once this works.
So that's the reason why sometimes when you put in those applications, almost immediately you get a no, sorry.
Yeah. Auto rejection after just applying. Yeah, which is crazy. So
That's interesting. Any questions, live questions? Okay, go ahead. I see.
sorry. Yeah. So you see here, I got a 78. So mind you, I've done 60 assessments already. I have 12 of my own personal clients right now. This is how it's comparing where I stand against what they're looking for. So if I don't have these matching skills, I'm not going to get a call back. So at the bottom here, we tell you what to put into your resume. You always want to tweak it a little bit, and then you should be able to edit it up here, edit those details to get a higher score. So that's pretty much it. If I need a cover letter, it should be able to generate one as well. And then once that's saved, we can push it to the application tracker. So that's pretty much it. Just to keep it short. So I'll stop this here.
No, no, this is great stuff. You do have a few questions and comment in the
Okay.
chat, Panther, but I probably want you to take one live. Anybody else who has a quick question for her that she can take live? Okay. All right. Awesome
Sorry, you want me to
stuff.
pick a question or?
No, no, no. You can answer it in the chat live too,
Okay, got it.
so that way we can, continue the conversation. But no, I know how long you spent working on this product, and to see that
Well,
it's finally,
finally.
open for all to see. Just want to say congratulations on that, and hopefully, we can bring you back, and you can do a real deep dive, for all to see, and just let us know how best this community can support you. So, Fanta-Marie, thank you so much for sharing. Let me bring on Marième to talk about what they're doing with DNA. Marième, if you're with us, I'll let you go next for the next 10 minutes. Uh, Marième, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear
Awesome.
me?
I can hear you now. Go for it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you, Adi. Thank you everyone for inviting me. I was trying actually to share my screen. Not sure if I'm allowed to. If not, maybe I can send you the presentation
No,
because
no,
I've tried,
please.
but it doesn't work.
Go ahead
Doesn't
and
seem to
Mariam
be
just
working.
Fanta-Marie just shared hers. See if it works again for you, and then if not, I can see if I can help on my end.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. And if you're having issues, do you want to share it with me, Mariam, and I
Yeah,
can
I
share?
think I'll do that.
Okay. Do
Doesn't
that.
seem to be.
Just send that to me, and then while you're sharing that, I'll let you just speak to it too.
Okay.
Let me grab. Okay. As soon as it comes through, I would go ahead and share. While we do that, let me know, Mariam. Did you?
Yeah, you should have it now. Sorry.
Okay, no worries. Let me see. Did you send by WhatsApp or did you send by email?
No, by email. Yeah, by
Email.
email.
Okay, no worries. Let me pick that up real quick.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but
Okay,
I can talk through
yep,
the
it just came
presentation.
through. Let me go
Okay,
ahead and download that. I do
thank
not
you.
have PowerPoint on this computer,
Oh, let me,
but
okay.
I'm sure.
Let
No,
me
it's fine. It'll
just
probably
a,
do presentation. Not
yeah,
now.
but just a sec. I can send you the
PDF.
PDF version. Sure.
Yeah, because I think we can probably do with this. It might not do the formatting well, but I think we can do with this. Let me go ahead and share my
No
screen.
worries. You'll get it in a second.
And all right, so I have this version. Let me know.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Awesome. The floor is all yours.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Great to be here. And for those I haven't met yet, my name is Marième Diop. I'm Senegalese. I am a technologist who turned into venture capitalist 11, 12 years ago now. I first launched and led Orange Ventures. That's how I broke into VC a long time ago, which is now Orange Ventures is the corporate venture capital arm of one of the leading telecom operators in Africa. And from there, I joined IFC, the private sector arm of the World Bank Group, as the head of Africa Venture Capital, where I invested across 16, 17 countries in Africa. And I just left IFC to start Leipzig Capital, um, which is now the first Pan-African AI-focused fund. And alongside that, I've also founded Dakar Network Angels, which I've spent the last 5 years building into Francophone Africa leading angel investment network, backing early stage founders across the continent. First of all, across Francophone, and now across the continent. So I'm happy to be here, and I would love to just share a bit of how we started the DNA, the African tech ecosystem, and of course, answer any question you may have. Should I go ahead?
Go for it.
Ready?
Let me know if you want me to go to the next slide, please.
Okay. Um, yeah, you can go to the next one. Next. Yeah, next.
There you go.
Great. Oh, okay. So we're missing the graph here.
No, that's fine. I'm gonna download the PDF version too,
Yeah,
so
no,
that
yeah,
way you can
no
have
worries.
it
Let me just,
ready to go.
yeah, let
And
me
I
just give a
believe
quick
I have
overview.
that. There you go.
Um, just to explain the reason why DNA exists, because yeah, so the Africa tech ecosystem is maturing from 2021, which was kind of a peak in the ecosystem where the African tech ecosystem raised roughly 6.5 billion USD, to now in 2025, the whole ecosystem raised over 4 billion. Um, the capital is still very much concentrated. Just to give you an idea, what Africa is currently raising is less than 1% of the total African VC across the world. So basically, it's nothing. And compared to other emerging markets, it's still very, very low. And it's very concentrated in four markets: Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, which absorbed until now roughly 75% of the total capital raised by founders. So Francophone Africa and other regions are still lagging behind because, of course, of this concentration. So 25% is just spread across the rest of Africa. And Francophone Africa, despite the size, the talents, is definitely structurally starving of capital. Sorry, and um, the angel investment is at its earliest stage, and it's definitely comparable to any other market outside the big four that I just mentioned. And in those markets, over 80% of the capital, or the type of support that angels are providing, is basically non-financial. It's mostly mentorship, etc., but not really capital. So that gap is exactly where the DNA was built to operate. When we started, we were anchored in Senegal, with the goal to cover Francophone Africa. And when we talk about Francophone Africa, it's over 27 countries. It's one of the biggest regions in the continent, but it was also where the capital was the scarcest. So over the past few years, actually, the continent has lost a significant amount of capital, because that's basically the structural risk of relying heavily on international capital. From 2015 to 2022, the continent had a very high concentration of equity capital from the US, from US investors, 27% from European investors, and the rest spread across China and China and other Asian countries. So since 2022, many of them actually pulled out, because many of them just entered opportunistically, but without a long-term commitment to building the ecosystem. That's, for example, the case of YC. Y Combinator announced in 2022 that they were actually stopping, any type of investment, any sort of investment in Africa. And it's definitely the same for those we call now the tourist investors. So Africa is now left with even less capital than 2022. Since 2022, basically, you can look at the graph. It's the capital raised, the total funding, the total equity capital raised by founders is significantly decreasing. Next slide. Yeah, so I talked about this already. Yeah. So generally, angel networks like the DNA mission is to bridge the earliest, riskiest capital gap for African founders. And this capital comes in before these companies are what we call VC ready, venture capital ready. So what we do, just beyond providing capital, is really helping structure the business, providing mentorship, and bringing commercial opportunities. When we started, we decided to set up our first vehicle in Rwanda. Rwanda is now becoming like the second jurisdiction in terms of attracting foreign capital on the continent. And we're currently operating under what we call the club deal model, which is basically solving one of our biggest problems, which was keeping members actively engaged. And that is something I would love to learn from you, the Fostr community, because when it comes to investing actively, we have between 15% to 20% activity from our members. So it's really difficult most of the time after signing up new members to make them really engage and actively assign checks. But we did great, I think. In 5 years, we've screened over 500 deals. We made 15 investments across 7 countries. We signed up over 75 angel members, of which 43%, I think, 45 are women. And mostly we've already returned capital through 2 exits, one in Ivory Coast and the other one in Ghana, and a third one in active discussion. And our portfolio have also raised follow-on capital from very reputable Tier 1, Tier 2 VC firms across the continent. So Dakar Network Angels is definitely now recognized as one of the most active angel groups on the continent. Next. We've learned a lot doing so, of course, in 5 years. Next. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, one of the results of the high concentration that less than 10% of the VC investment flows to Francophone Africa, there are definitely fewer than 10 fund seeds writing less than 500K checks in 2 or 3 maximum markets: Senegal, Ivory Coast, and Tunisia, Morocco to a lesser extent. And of course, there's persistent underrepresentation in global LP networks for Francophone Africa as well. And I think the clearest lesson that we've learned is that the deal flow has never been the bottleneck. There is deal flow and there's quality deal flow. The main issue, especially in the regions that are underserved compared to the big four, is the investment readiness. And this is where the DNA and its members and the network can make a real difference, because most of the venture capital firms don't really have the capacity within their team to prepare the companies properly to raise follow-on funding, Series A, etc. So this is a big gap that we are trying to address. And the second clearest lesson for us is, like I was saying earlier, the engagement, which for us has to be structural. We need to be very intentional about how we engage with our members and how we make them be more active, so that we can also increase our investment capacity. We're now closing 2 to 3 deals every year. And we shifted the model. We're now operating under a club deal instead of a court-based model. So, yeah, I think I touched on this
That's
one
right.
a little
Awesome.
bit.
I'm just going to move things along too.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. So we can then
12-year model,
we
and
can
then
skip.
talked about the achievements. And I
Yep.
think we have just a few more slides here. Shall I go to the next slide here? I think we touched
Yes.
on this already. Okay,
Yeah, I think we touched on this.
awesome. Go for it.
Yeah, I think the main conversation that I also wanted to have today is how we can. I think Fostr and DNA are a genuine natural fit. So now I would love to just get your feedback, especially for those who attended the investment session, the session that we hosted a few days ago, just to get a better sense of who is ready to learn and be educated on angel investing, who had previous exposure to the African tech ecosystem, as an investor, as an angel investor, or just an operator, a builder. Because, of course, for us, the African diaspora is one of the largest pools of capital that African founders don't have yet structured access to. Even though within our network, I think over 40% of our members are diaspora members. They are based across the US and Europe mostly, and the rest is spread across a few countries in Africa. Yeah, so we really admire what Fostr has built in terms of really a trusted and engaged community. And we have built the investment infrastructure. And I think there's put together that's probably a good entry point, which I would love to discuss. We already have the SPV, we have the track record, and for our members, for our new members, actually, we most of the time also provide training. We give them access to our network. They can engage actually with very experienced investors. Some of our members, actually, after 2 years investing alongside us, have also decided to start their own funds, which is for us a great recognition as well for the network. And so yeah, I think that's the whole model. It's a community first model. We are already an investment platform, and I think we can offer Fostr members a very credible way into Africa, the most underserved market when it comes to tech investments. I'll stop there, and
That's awesome.
happy to answer any question.
No, Marième, thank you so much. I know this is the second or probably the third time we're having you back talk about the great things you guys are doing with DNA. And folks, like I said, I've gotten to know her and what they're doing at DNA, and I honestly think it's just amazing. I also read a LinkedIn post that maybe somebody else on this call just finished up a VC cohort stuff. So so hopefully this also speaks to you, Mr. Tosin. Yes, you're the one I was referring to. Um, but let's be honest, right? Most of us on this call, do work in 9 to 5, do work with in big tech, and do have always thinking of what next. I know people reach out to me a lot and say, hey, I'm thinking of what next. I maybe I might not be ready to found a business yet, but I do have some capital that I'm trying to figure out what it is. But again, I need to ensure that it's going towards something that I can trust, and something that hopefully would you know 10x, 2x, whatever the case may be, my money. But
Mhm.
also fully knowing that everything else in life also comes with risk, right? There's no guarantee that, I cannot, I will survive the next 5 seconds right now, right? Yeah, I could leave this call and that could be the end of it all. But I truly believe so that it's not a matter of if but when, and I honestly believe that a lot, especially for folks that are still in 9 to 5 and trying to figure
Mhm.
out what next, right? You're earning good money, high, high, what's it called, salary, whatever the case may be. And for some of us are figuring out, what do I do with this? How do I build a second, third, fourth revenue stream for myself while still earning 9 to 5? And I think vehicles like what Marion has proposed, and you probably hear from Fola shortly here too, is how do I then take what I have right now and try to multiply the possibility of a positive outcome when it comes to return on investment. And that's why when Marion and I started the conversation, we talked about, okay, we've already built, or we're still building what this community is when it comes to Fostr. How do we then channel that into, rather than Fostr going to build its own separate angel investing platform? The idea is to partner with people like Marion, who that's what they do best, right? I know what I know, and I know what I do not know. When it comes to SPVs and this and that, that's not my lane. I'm learning, and I'm learning first. But I think we're continuing to explore that relationship with what she's building. And they've invited us to a few, what's it called, the pitches, I believe. I've attended
Yeah, good
probably
session.
everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the plan is to do more of that. The plan is to
Mm.
truly gauge how many of us are kind of locked in. I want to invest, right? So hopefully, and we'll probably would drop another link again, or we would have some, what's it called,
Mm.
Adam, to
Yeah.
reach back out to all of us and say, hey, here are the opportunity. If you truly feel that this is something you want to explore, we'd love to hear from you. I think, we've thrown a few things out there, but we truly need more people to say more to that. So I'll pause. I know it's a lot there, and I know time is of the essence, but I'll still open it at least for the next 1 to 3 minutes or so. Whoever has any questions, comment, or feedback, we can take that live. I already know that we have folks already putting something in the notes for you, Mariam, so you can obviously respond
Yeah.
to. But let me pause and see if you wanted to add anything else to that, Mariam, and if anybody else wanted to pick on that live.
Yeah. Hi. I think this is more of a question for you, Ade. I think I attended one of the presentations with Mariam. Um, uh, I know that there's about an entry level for potential angel investors. I can't remember what that cost is. So I was thinking, I think I posed a question as, even as a group as Foster, have we thought about maybe some interesting cohorts? Maybe, a couple of members want to come together and form like a little, club to, you know, to join and, maybe pull some money together and invest, thinking that might be something to think about and explore.
No, I think that's a great question. And Mariam and I kind of talked about that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I know maybe thanks you raised that, Tommy. Maybe what we can even do, Marian, is we can spin off Foster Capital, which is a group we've always wanted to, and use that as a pilot to see how many people are really interested. First of all, to join that group, right?
Yeah.
And then we can now start engaging that group, and to Tommy's point, start getting more really, really focused on, who are people that truly want to take it to the next level. So I think maybe that might be it. Maybe we do a campaign. Not only do we open a WhatsApp group specifically for Foster Capital, but then within then, send out an email to over 1,000 of us because, not everyone's on this call, obviously. I think we're just about 30 of us on this call today. And maybe that goes into everything else that we do that obviously aligns with, Foster's mission. So, Tommy, maybe that's something that we would definitely look into and maybe action as soon here. And then all the information we've discussed here, Miriam, we can feed that into
Yeah.
that dedicated group focused on that and other opportunities that align with what we're thinking to do. What do you all think? Sounds good.
Yeah.
Kunle, this is Tosin. I have some thoughts that I'll share with the group. So, and you and I can talk offline.
Mm.
I don't like reinventing the wheel, and there is a large angel investment network called BAG, Black Angel Group, and they're international. I think that there's a way for us to potentially partner with them. So I'll give you more details. I was on a call with them yesterday. My thing is let's work smart, not hard. And so there definitely is a way for us to potentially become a part of them through a joint group here. And we can invest through their larger network because it then doesn't limit us to any one particular thing or a few items. It allows us to invest globally in opportunities as a part of an angel network. So I'll give you more information, but I wanted to mention that to you. And I'll put their information in the chat as well so you can look at it before we talk.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thanks for sharing, Tosin. Marian, any parting words before we turn it over to Fola for the next showcase?
Yeah, no, thanks for the great ideas. I mean, what you said also makes sense. Happy to explore that idea further, and of course, open to chatting with Tosin as well. I didn't know about the BAG network at all, so yeah, happy to chat. And you're right. I mean, it doesn't really make sense reinventing the wheel. If there's any way we could all together source, vet deals, and co-invest alongside each other, it's probably better. But yeah, I would love to learn more about it before anything. So thanks, everyone.
Miriam, I'm putting something in the chat right now about them, and so that everybody can read and learn about BAG. Just to give you some context, the organization grew out of 2020, the Black Lives Matter movement, and what happened with George Floyd, and then a number of people got support, put it together, and they have grown exponentially over the last 6 years. So certainly want to plug Kunle. I have no problem plugging us as a collective group into any of the resources I have at my availability, because I think it's important that we connect. So Miriam, you have my contact information. Let's get together and talk too, and I'll shut up.
Sure.
No. Great conversation. Mariam, as always, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Eddie.
Tosi, as always, and Tommy, thanks for enriching, and others too on chat. Thanks for enriching the conversation. We have less than 33 minutes left, so I'm gonna go to you, Fola, right next to talk about ISE-DA. Go ahead. I think I pronounced that as it should be pronounced, but go for it, Fola.
Yeah.
And I'll stop sharing on my end if you want to share.
Yeah, sure. I can quickly share. Hi, everyone. My name is Fola, and I am the founder of ISE-DA, which is an art advisory focused on the cultural stewardship of Black contemporary art. Now, what that means, and here's a bit of a background. Art advisor, grew up across England, Switzerland. I'm on the Smithsonian Global Africa Council, where I continue to support the acquisition and exposure of African art to varying different audiences. And I used to be a former EPC consultant before going back into the arts. So just a little bit of what I do. As an advisor, I advise Black professionals on building thoughtful art collections with arts of Africa and the diaspora. So that's education, acquisition guidance, institutional access to different museums across the world. I lead global research on arts by Africa and the diaspora. So that also supports not only my private clients, but also institutional clients. And why it matters is that collecting art helps shape cultural memory for Black communities and about Black communities. One of the reasons why I built ISE-DA is because as someone who grew up studying art and practicing art, I realized that a lot of works by Black artists, when they're purchased, they go to white collectors. Black communities are not benefiting culturally, socially, or financially from the acquisition and the growth in value of Black contemporary art around the diaspora. So I built this advisory to ensure that Black professionals with a discretionary income have access to quality museum grade works of art and to ensure that Black communities actually get access to our own culture. And in doing so, it ensures that Black communities are the people responsible for the value that gets created around Black art and the narratives that it disseminates around Black cultures, history, and more. So through ISE-DA, if I just it's kind of split into four separate sections, the advisory. So individual advisory supporting private collectors with acquisitions. To date, we've sold works by artists who are Nigerian, Haitian, Guinean, Senegalese, Brazilian especially, and even Black artists based in the Middle East, Black artists based in Asia. So no matter where the Black artists are, where they're from, we ensure that people who are attracted to the type of work that they are creating have access to purchase it. With ISE-DA as well as individual advisory, we run what I call the New Collectors Program, which is a retainer-based advisory and membership, supporting people with education about the arts, education about strategies when building your collection, what sort of narratives should you target based on your interests, your background, and more. And it's something that we've been running for the past 3 years, mainly based here in New York. But we have members who are based in DC, LA, Chicago, and looking at launching it in person in Atlanta and DC for the next upcoming year. And we also do cultural initiatives and special projects as well as corporate programming. So corporate programming, we've done programming at Meta, Mastercard, and Google. I used to work at Meta for the Open Arts department. So for anyone here that does work at Meta, all of the commissioned artworks globally in the different offices, I worked on that team and supported with that, as well as the communications around the really incredible artists that you have inside the Meta's corporate art collection. And for cultural initiatives, I also focus on research and consulting for institutions and organizations around Black contemporary art. So this includes Carnegie Hall, where I supported their Afrofuturism Festival. So really looking at the theoretical implications of Black speculative theory in art and contemporary culture and life today. I've helped organizations in DC launch inaugural programming on Black contemporary art and partnering with different institutions in the area. And I also launched my own internal special projects, one of which is called Temperature Check. And I'll go into more details about that later on in the presentation. But Temperature Check is essentially taking what I'm doing here in the US, so cultivating new Black collectors and supporting both new and existing Black collectors with art acquisitions for Black art, and taking it around the diaspora and exploring what Black art looks like in different countries and regions. Who are the current Black patrons and who are the people who can be the future Black patrons for their own regional cultural production? So here's a bit of the impact that we've done today and the people that we've supported, as well as some press that we've gotten, not only here, but press in Brussels, in Brazil, and more. So the advisory itself is pretty international. And we've done work in Brazil, in the US. We did work in Venice along with the Smithsonian Institution earlier this year, and looking to expand that into Brazil later this year and next year, and West Africa from the end of this year onwards. So once again, what I kind of do, the role of an art advisor. And the reason for me it's really important for collectors, especially those new to the ecosystem, to have an art advisor is because art advisors really advocate for you to get access. And I think we can all relate to the fact that, as Black professionals, access for Black people is increasingly hard in different industries. So art advisors are people that advocate for you, your eye, your interests, and also get you works before they're made available to a wider network of collectors. So a couple of examples I can give on that is through the program, we've made a couple of sales just this past week. And they're galleries who are going to be showing at Art Basel Miami. So before the work is available for sale or given in previews to collectors, I'm able to bring in my collectors to an artist studio or allow them to see the works ahead of time. So if they would like to move forward with the sale, they can do that before it is shown at Art Basel Miami. I've done this for clients who've purchased works by artists and their works are in collections such as the Studio Museum or maybe 20 other museum collections around America. And because I've been in the arts my entire life, I'm able to use my access not only here in America, but internationally to ensure that Black professionals, even if they're new to this ecosystem, have access to extremely quality works of art. So here's some examples of some artists that I love, incredible. So Jem Pericini is an Italian Ethiopian artist who's really interested in exploring Byzantine art and its connection to Christianity and more. I think he's an incredible artist, and because of relationships with artists like this, I'm able to share things with people before artists are extremely well known in the industry. This is some of the pictures that I've taken on my travels. So in 2022, I was at the Dakar Biennial, and I was able to see some of the incredible works that were on display in the Palais de Justice. And some of these artists actually have gone on to show at major or larger biennial. So Bea Gacha was showing and actually curated the Cameroonian Pavilion in Venice this year. Ngozi is an artist represented by Co-Art Space in Nigeria, and I've consistently seen her work in incredible art fairs around the world. So as an art advisor, I also travel a lot to see where the different Black artists showcasing their work, especially before they become better known in the Western art market. And though I don't necessarily believe that you can invest in art, it's a really different type of asset that doesn't move like stocks. One thing I would say is similar is that it's always better to get in early on in an artist's career before they become very well known, before their art is not as accessible in terms of pricing or even size. So opportunities like this, going to Dakar. I was in Abu Dhabi and Sharjah last year to check out the Sharjah Biennial, where a lot of African artists were showing. It's really important so you know what's happening before things come to New York, which is kind of the center of the art world. Some other work that I've seen in Brazil, I spent a lot of time in Brazil exploring art. So Antonio Oba is another incredible artist who creates work that's not just painting on canvas, but also installation, as you can see in the picture on the left. And another great artist who I'm a big fan of, Elaj, on the left. I actually met him in Dakar in 2022. And he has just gone on to greater significant heights in the industry. He's from Guadeloupe, but is typically between Dakar and Paris. And he actually showed this work on the left at Miami Art Basel in December last year and had a work from the similar body on view in Morocco, where I was earlier this year to explore what's happening in Northern Africa and who are the Black artists being overlooked in Northern Africa. And one of those, the art on the right, it's a detailed up close of work by artist Mbarek Bushishi, who is an incredible Black Moroccan artist whose body of work really highlights the plight of Black Moroccans as they're typically overlooked in Northern African culture and just visuals, essentially. When you think of Moroccans or Northern Africans, you don't typically see darker skinned Moroccans. So he really explores this in a lot of the bodies of work that he's created. So, like I said, the New Collectors Program, it's a really, if I don't say so myself, an incredible program, and I've really loved running it for the past 3 years. And it really does help Black professionals take their time with understanding and supporting Black cultural production. The picture on the right is a great artist and friend, Tariku Shifero. We went to his studio in 2023, and his work is in some of the collections of major Black collectors, such as Pamela Joyner. He's had museum shows in New York, internationally. He's Ethiopian and just had a show at the Central Museum in Addis earlier last year. So, like I said, there's a lot of really great opportunities. And even here in America, there are incredible artists that are doing great things in America and internationally that you can have access to through this program. So we do walkthroughs after hours. I used to be an assistant director at a gallery in Tribeca, and I've studied art on an undergraduate and graduate level. I've worked in corporate art collections, art fairs, museums. So because of this access, a lot of galleries open their doors after hours for us. So we get private walkthroughs with curators of museums, directors of different galleries, as well as artists themselves. And we really get some great one-on-one time. So members of our program build relationships with these curators, artists, and collectors. So this is Mark Bradford. He had an incredible show in July a few years ago called You Don't Have to Tell Me Twice. He was actually just honored by the MoMA Black Arts Council earlier this year. And he's a really prolific Black artist who engages in abstraction, textiles, and sculpture, and has an incredible body of work for the past decade plus that he's been working. Here we did a studio and residency visit with artist Layo Bright. She is a Nigerian artist based here in New York who works primarily in glass. So she creates these glass molds of women in her life and adorns them with different flowers from wherever they are in the world. So flowers that represent maybe the city or country that these women are from. And we were really honored that she took us to her residency and actually showed us from beginning to end the process of her glass making and how she's able to create these really beautiful sculptures. She had a solo show at the Aldrich Museum in Connecticut last year. So once again, through this program, you're able to get access to artists at really critical points in their career. And through this program, we've been able to sell quite a few of her work. She's actually a very popular artist in our program. And here are some other pictures of things that we've done. So studio visits on the left, on the right. Some of our members were in Brazil for our inaugural temperature check program that we did last year, and I'll talk more about that later. And some more after-hour walkthroughs with gallery directors. So not only looking at figurative work or sculptural work, but also abstraction. Ed Clark is one of the biggest Black names in Black abstraction. So being able to see this exhibition alongside the gallery was a really unique opportunity. And once again, traveling more. So artist Che Lovelace is a good friend, a Trinidadian artist. I was in Port of Spain, so we did a studio visit, and he's another artist that's popular with members of the program. So being able to spend more time with him and kind of translate his work for an audience really coming into the art ecosystem was a really wonderful experience. And then just some work from other artists like Simone Lee, another incredible name, Black woman artist, really interested in the connectivities between African production and the diaspora. She's represented the US in the Venice Biennale. You can't talk about Black
This
art today without.
these are beautiful photos, Fola. I'll let you kind of just wrap us up. Any asks from this particular community. And then, again, you and I spoke, was it earlier in the week, and
Mhm.
just kind of taken aback with the great work that you're doing when it comes to art. I know the only artwork I have right now is my Samsung TV that displays different images. That's
Yeah.
the closest that I have. And to be honest, I think most of us, myself inclusive, always feel, oh wow, you know what? There are other things I want to focus on right now than spend $5,000 buying a piece that I don't know what to do with it unless obviously to admire it on the wall. But just walk us through maybe in the next, 60 seconds or so, what's the ask from this community and how can we best support what you're doing?
I think in terms of best supporting, so two things I would say. We are really interested in expanding the new collectors program, like I said, to different states. So if there you or people that you know are interested in learning more about art, please let me know and please get in contact. I know you mentioned that some people may not be comfortable spending a certain sum on art, but the program itself, there's no pressure to purchase, but it's really about learning, immersing yourself, and getting a better understanding. Even the best art collectors know that it's not smart to purchase immediately, to purchase just because you feel pressured to, but it really is a journey and a lifelong experience that is very, very worthwhile. And you get so much more out of it than just, having something to look at on the wall. If I'm honest, being in this space has allowed me to expand my professional network because there comes a certain point that at a certain level of wealth or influence, you are looking at purchasing art. And that is athletes, those are CEOs, those are politicians. You can't, it's really difficult, I think, to be influential and not to be involved in culture in any way, shape, or form. So that's the first ask. The second one would be currently in the middle of funding Temperature Check. So it's a traveling and research initiative, basically doing what I'm doing here and exporting it. We're in the middle of developing a catalog to document the Afro-Brazilian art ecosystem. So that is the collectors, the artists themselves, as well as us bringing Black professionals who collect or interested in collecting to Brazil. So here are some images of us in Sao Paulo last year during the Sao Paulo Biennial. Some of the stats of what we were able to achieve. So over, says 12, but updating now over 15 art acquisitions and museum acquisitions from that week alone. And it once again gives you a great opportunity and network to build. So some of the people who are with us are some of the top 200 art collectors in the industry, people who are some of the close friends of the Obamas were on the trip with us, people who are board chairs of different museums around America. So like I said, it's not only a great network that you get access to, but you really get to understand how people with influence really do care about culture and the preservation of Black art and history. So,
Awesome.
more images,
Awesome.
but
And
that's it.
and Fowler, no, great stuff here. Can you please drop more in the what's it called now?
The chat.
Chat. Yeah, and we would also summarize this and send out to folks that are not on the call. Typically, we always record these sessions and we do a recap every Monday. That's when we send out the recap. So again, like I said, each individual we could go like one full hour talking about what Fanta-Marie is working on, or Mariam's working on, what Fola is working on. And here we are. We only have just 17 minutes and we still have Tomi to go over. So Fola, thank you so much for
Thank
hopping on,
you.
and definitely we will be amplifying what you're doing. And without further ado, I would swing it over to you, Tomi, and hopefully I have the last 2 minutes or so to talk about a few other community updates. Tomi, over to you.
Sure, sure. Okay. Thank you so much. Just real quick, my name is Tomi Adegbenro. I'm a builder, but of course, like most people here, also have a 9 to 5. And what I'm hoping to share with with the team today, or with people today, is a project that I've been working on for quite a while with some partners of mine, in which we're actually trying to solve a very specific problem. Initially started out as a novelty in us just trying to play around with of course AI and looking at how best to build with AI. Um, However, we've actually been able to focus on a particular niche of what we're trying to solve for, which is really building what we're calling a learning operating system. And the whole idea is, especially for modern learners that are leveraging digital, reading through, digital content and also leveraging AI. We've begun to understand that there are some challenges that learners or students in particular are having, whereby you are getting quick answers from AI, or you're just skimming through all your digital notes. By the end of the day, are people really understanding or mastering the content, or what they need to be learning? So that's something we're trying to solve for. Um, the product is called LAVAR, and it's pretty much a voice first dialogue AI platform that's grounded in learning science. So the whole idea is to help students or learners better understand the content and master the content. So rather than today's use of AI with chat bots or even agents where you're just spitting out information to you, with our platform, we're actually leveraging a lot of learning science techniques, so Socratic dialogue, whereby we're not just giving you the information, but we're also allowing you to actually think critically before you can, and also assess how you're actually understanding or learning the content. So just because of time, I was going to go through a presentation, but I think what makes the most sense is there's a video that I'll just play, which should give a very high level understanding of what we're trying to do, and I'll just jump into a quick demo, okay? So let me share my screen, and hopefully the video, hopefully the, okay, sure. And I think the sound should come through, hopefully. So I'll do less talking.
The audio isn't coming through yet.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
Not my end.
Oh, okay.
And maybe you can share when you share, click on the option to say share sound.
All right, okay, let me stop
There
sharing.
might be that, there might be that option to share sound too.
All right, how do I stop sharing? Okay, let me stop sharing and try that again. All right, share sound. Okay, I need to click on that. Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so I'll just start this real quick. All right, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, all right.
What if reading wasn't passive, but a conversation that improves how you learn? Today, students read more than ever, but remember less than ever, especially with AI tools. That's why retention drops, engagement fades, and learning becomes effort without impact. Students don't need more content to improve knowledge retention. They need better interaction with the content. This is LAVAR, a voice-powered cognitive engagement platform that transforms static content into interactive, dialogic learning experiences.
I'm interested in his political shift and how it's portrayed in Soul on Ice.
With LAVAR, every text becomes a conversation partner. Ask questions while you read, challenge ideas, and explore deeper
LAVAR
context without leaving the screen.
LAVAR Cleaver explores the author's transformation and experiences with racism. LAVAR Cleaver
LAVAR, can you tell me more about his journey from activism to conservatism?
Eldridge Cleaver's
Reading
views evolved
stops
from
being a
Black
task.
nationalism
It
to
becomes a dialogue that strengthens memory, improves understanding, and builds real comprehension. Students don't just read more, they retain more. LAVAR isn't just a reading tool. It's a new interface for learning, where knowledge responds, adapts, and grows with every
All
student.
right, time to close this out. Done.
Join our pilot and experience the future of learning with LAVAR.
Felt like I was in a cinema, Tommy, but I'll let you.
Yeah,
That was
well,
awesome, by the way.
hopefully you all could hear that. But of course, in most cases, I just want to make sure that the proof is in the pudding. So this has definitely been a really exciting project, and has really evolved over a couple of years here. So I'm sure everyone kind of has a good sense of what we are doing with this product, but I will log in and just give you a very quick demo of our current MVP here. I'm just going to log in, and so the platform allows users to have content, primarily books. These could be books with, of course, a lot of heavy content, textbooks, reading books, and so on and so forth. So as you can see, we have a number of interesting things that I have on this particular platform. The platform allows you to do a number of things. Of course, the first thing that you can do is that you can chat with the book or with books that we have on the platform. We allow you to get insights into what you're learning. We allow you to be able to add notes or generate notes for yourself as you're engaging in, dialoguing with the book, and also generate quizzes as you engage the book and aspects of the book that you've covered. And I think what's also really powerful here, and we're doing a lot of very interesting things here, and I'll give you an example, is that actually, let me just do that here as a very quick example. We're able to generate knowledge graphs where we can really get the information that you've actually been learning about in the book, how you've been learning about that information, and really pretty much map out your knowledge of the content and how it relates to it. And we also have some interesting things that we're building now to also determine your mastery of that content over time. So the whole idea of this platform is not just a novelty of you just talking to a book or content, but to be able to really expand on improving the learning outcomes, and to be able to actually measure how students or users of the platform are actually understanding the content that they're engaging in. So this is something that we're really focused on delivering to schools, universities, organizations that are trying to train their workforce, and things of that nature. So does it make sense so far?
100%.
Okay. Well, let's just do a very quick example here. I'll just kind of pick a book that I haven't really played around with on this particular platform. And the good news is that we can actually talk to books. So let's do that. This is the Essential of David Bohm. Who's a popular author. I'm sure a lot of people know about it. So let's see LAVAR work.
Hello, Tomi Adegbenro. We are now discussing The Essential David Bohm. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay, can you just give me a very quick overview of the book in, let's just say, 100 words?
The Essential David Bohm is a collection of writings that explore the life and work of physicist David Bohm, focusing on his contributions to quantum mechanics and his philosophical inquiries into consciousness. The book highlights Bohm's alternative interpretations of quantum theory, including his ontological interpretation, and introduces concepts like the implicate order, which posits a deeper, interconnected reality. What draws you to David Bohm's work, and where would you like to start exploring his ideas?
Why don't we start at the very beginning of the book? Can you just explain the very few chapters and themes?
Let's begin with the section, Reminiscence about David Bohm. This part of the book provides a personal reflection on David Bohm's character, highlighting his humility, open-mindedness, and fascination with consciousness and ancient Indian philosophy. The author shares their personal interactions with Bohm, portraying him as an approachable mentor who was eager to discuss complex ideas. What aspects of Bohm's personality or work resonate with you, or would you like to explore further in this section?
I'm still very new to Bohm, but let's park it at this point, and I can continue later on. Okay?
We've just begun to touch on the reminiscence about David Bohm, and there's a lot more to explore in his life and work. When you're ready to continue, we can pick up where we left off and delve deeper into his ideas on consciousness, quantum mechanics, and the implicate order.
All right. Okay, so that just gives you a quick idea of what I just did in terms of just talking to the book. But what's really powerful now is, as you continue to engage with the book, we are able to adapt to your learning style, how you're engaging the book, and also generate insights of your engagement of the book or mastery. Oh, someone has a quick question. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Shira, and I have recently done some work with some leading organizations on models that help train students how to think.
Awesome.
And so my question for you is, it seems like this is a great tool for summarizing what is in the book. But my question is, how does it help students develop the critical thinking skills to be able to know
Right.
what they should be getting from it, as opposed to just saying,
Understood.
here's the answer? How does it
Understood.
help them develop the skills to say, okay, these are the questions I should be asking, or do you understand the question?
I totally understand the question. And actually, the way you just described it is actually what the LAVAR is not. So
Mm-hmm.
we are not building a summarizing tool, even though I know in my example I did ask a very high level summarizing question. But the book actually guides you, the models and the platform guides you through understanding chapter by chapter, theme by theme, what's going on in the book. And it's actually built on learning sciences. So we use a lot of different techniques, including Socratic dialogue. So it's actually not going to give you any answers right away unless you expressly ask for it. It's actually going to challenge you in your thinking. And if you recall, there were some questions it was asking me back for me to be able to respond and move forward. And that's how we'll help to assess how you're mastering the content or the themes in the book. Does that answer your question?
It does. I'd
Yeah.
be interested in speaking to you and your team offline,
Sure.
if possible.
More than that, I think you're just kind of getting to our ask at the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Elisa also has a question.
Yeah, so as far as the database that holds the books that it can pretty much discuss the book with you on,
Mhm.
are you able to upload your own book and it
How
still
do you
have
handle
that
copyrighted
separate?
information?
Okay, great. I think I was hearing multiple questions there. Yeah, and which is awesome. So I'm really excited and happy about this. Let me start with the first part.
Okay.
We with our MVP, we've actually built a lot of capabilities that we haven't even fully released into the product. And the simple answer is yes. We do have capabilities whereby you can add your own book. Okay, so someone should be able to add their own content. You can just imagine you have an ebook
Gotta be careful with
that you
that.
have, or professors or students want to be able to add their content and have their students engage with that. So we do have those type of pipelines to be able to build in. Today, and this is a demo environment, so I'm sure you see a lot of. Someone mentioned how do we handle copyrights. So this is just a demo environment to play around with. But once we get it readily available, we're only going to provide Creative Commons content. However, we're also working with we're actually making it a B2C, a B2B2C model. So especially like if you're thinking about schools, we're working with them. So if they already have licensing for some books and they have access to leverage those books, then they will be able to add those books onto the platform for themselves. So we do have a very interesting model that we're providing. We're also looking at interesting options to have publishers also to be able to work on our platform, and then they can have their books available on our platform, and users can buy that or buy that license, and then it'll make that available for them to be able to engage with the book on the platform. So we're looking at different interesting ideas in that way. Does that answer your question?
Yes. So when this launches, I'm sorry, I have another one. When this launches, where would I is this going to be on an app
Oh,
or?
very good
Okay.
question. So, we've actually pivoted to be a B2B2C model. We actually were looking at a B2C model to start with. However, primarily due to many concerns that I may not be able to share right now, but a lot of it also has to do with content, right? We needed to make sure that we have a type of platform whereby it made more sense to I guess it had to do with our approach on scaling as well. So we wanted to go the B to C model. We're really targeting educational institutions, organizations with workforce training needs to start with, and then as we grow, then we'll make this available, readily available to the public to then to be able to use forward. That way, we'll probably have really structured our model whereby we can either have publishers or partner with publishers, or have the solution built in a way whereby if someone wants to add content to the platform, they're able to do so without having to put in like content that shouldn't be on there, non-licensed content, that's all. So we have our interesting ways of dealing with that. But right now, it's going to be a B to B to C approach to start with, and then hopefully in another couple of years, then we'll have this more readily available
All
as a
right.
cloud offering to
See,
users.
I told you all that, that 90 minutes wasn't gonna be
I
enough.
know. I
Um, uh,
actually didn't get to show you a lot of things, but let me just show one quick thing that I
go
think would
go
be
for it.
great. Just the conversation I just had with the book. I'm able to generate. Um, it's still generating real quick. Hopefully, it'll take a quick second. It's able to generate the content for that conversation. So, and as you continue to build and grow your conversation, um, it will continue to add all that information, and it will show the relationships between what you were talking about and how it relates to the content. I'm also able to generate what are considered insights, and there are different types of categories, and we're still playing with some interesting things here. But that way, it would even give you more insight into the conversation that you had, some of the key themes, some of the takeaways that you need to have from the conversation from that particular session, and we keep building and growing on that. So it's a way of helping you also continue to grow and build notes and get insights into even the conversation you have in the book, not just the content. So you can also help to measure and gauge how you're understanding the content. Okay. So with that being said, I will stop this now. I will put my um, email information if anyone wants to contact me offline. Certainly, as from an ask, looking at interesting ways to collaborate. Also, trying to get the word out to as many people that have in their networks, school district superintendents, chief academic officers, people that you think might be interested in this, so that we can start looking at doing some interesting pilots and yeah, and also probably trying to sell this out there.
This is
Okay.
awesome. Again, right, team. I typically we try to stick
Awesome.
to time. This has been amazing, amazing, amazing. Obviously, learning from Fanta-Marie with Hyre Grid to Marième Diop of Dakar Network Angels to Fola from ISE-Da, and then lastly with Tomi from LAVAR. As you can see,
Mhm.
you all are just amazing people building amazing stuff. I think what we're probably going to do is, invite some of these people back and have just more dedicated session with them, so we can really go deep. Like I said, we just wanted to like scratch the surface on today's call that you all can get a feel for the breadth we have within the community. For those that have not signed up to join Fostr yet, I believe Sandra did put the link to join us, and typically everyone is kind of application is reviewed, and after being reviewed, just to make sure that everyone aligns with what we typically consider mission aligned. And then, if that's a yes, you then get an email that says, "Hey, welcome to Fostr, and you can be part of this community." I started this conversation by saying, yeah, I really wanted to acknowledge, people that have, everyone to begin with, but just special emphasis on Brian Richardson, and the guy is I know, man. It's just crazy when it comes to like just bringing people and inviting people to the fold. Like, yeah, whatever you're doing, it's working, you know. So please just want to say thank you from us to you and all the individuals you have personally invited to join us. And I do encourage others too. Again, we have the weekly leaderboard. Who is your five? Just, continue to grow the community. Feel free to do so. For some of us that are based in Atlanta, there's Diaspora District events coming up later this evening. We had day one yesterday. And it was just an amazing experience, to break bread with fellow community members. So hopefully we look forward to seeing a few more folks later tonight. And if you do have an idea or a business or a service, the idea is as we have this hangout, I think it's just best to hear from more builders within the community. So that's where we'll pack the conversation today. Tosin and thank you so much for enriching the conversation. I've been seeing the chat on folks looking for funding, pre-seed investment. Please reach out to Tosin. I believe he also dropped his notes, his contact details within the chat. Like I said, we're going to bring Tosin in for a full dedicated session too. Who knows? Maybe the next Fostr Hangout to go deep. But if anybody needs anything else between now and then, feel free to reach out. Reach out to Sandra. You can always connect with me personally, also on LinkedIn. My full name, Adekuna Adele. And again, we'll call this a wrap for July Hangout, and hopefully we'll catch you all on the next Hangout coming shortly here. Thanks all. Happy Saturday.
Thanks.